I feel like I should start this video with a bit of a warning. It's gonna be long and wordy. Well, it might not be long, but it's gonna be very wordy. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Last week I announced that I was moving to Arizona from Pennsylvania. And so this week I wanted to kind of explain more why I'm moving, what led me to this choice, because it's obviously a big choice. So I have my notes on my iPad that I wrote out a lot of my feelings on, and I'm gonna try not to get emotional because obviously a big move like this is pretty emotional when I grew up like 40 minutes away from here, and this is like the only place I've lived my whole life, even though I've traveled a lot. Anyway, let's get into it. So first I want to start with why am I moving to Arizona. So when I was in high school, my dad's best friend, who still lives out there now, he and his family lived in Arizona, so we went to visit them the one time. And I remember my dad was like, I think we should land at, I mean, he made all the travel plans. Obviously, I was in high school, I didn't know what I was doing. But he was like, we're gonna land at night, and then when you wake up in the morning, you're gonna be like in awe at Arizona because it's so different from Pennsylvania. So I was like, okay, whatever. Little high school me was like, la la la, cool. So I remember we landed at night, and like when we were landing, you can see there's all these like rock formations in Phoenix, but like at night, they just look like big black spots. And I was like, oh, I wonder what that is. Maybe it's like lakes or something. Why did I think there was lakes in the desert? I don't know. I remember landing, it was at night, and it was like looked a little different, but we went to bed, and I remember when I opened the curtains the next morning, I was like, oh my God, where am I? This is amazing. It was so different than anything I had ever seen in my whole entire life. I was like, this is amazing. I feel like I'm on a whole different planet. What, like what? So that was the trip, the first time I ever went to Arizona, that I just like fell in love with it. And ever since then, I was like, I really want to move here, but I was like, but this is a really long way away from home, and I just like don't know. I don't think I could ever move that far, but I was just like, oh, but it's so great, it's so different, it's like warm there all the time, super great, blah, blah, blah. So whatever, so that was when I was in high school. From high school until now, I'm 27 years old, I had obviously gone back and forth to Phoenix, visiting our family, friends, always saying like, oh, one day I'll move here, but always being a little too scared to do it. And I was just like, I don't know. I don't think I can do it. Like, I'd move away from my family and everything I know. And I didn't think I could move from the East Coast. Basically, up until this point, I was like, I'm a little too scared to like make that big of a move. Things were kind of going back and forth with my job. I was working like retail at the time, and I was like, I don't know. Like, I just can't do it. I don't think I can do it. So I didn't do it. Then, the thing that surprisingly turned it all around in my head was COVID, which you're probably like, what? COVID? How did that do that? But COVID, when, you know, at the beginning of COVID, when we were all isolated, I started FaceTiming my like friends and family more because, you know, we would all be in our separate houses, like isolating, quarantining, whatever, FaceTiming people more. And it occurred to me as I was like, oh, I could move somewhere else, because I guess before I more thought like, I don't think I can move because like I'm never gonna see anyone. But then COVID made me realize that I can FaceTime people and talk to them virtually or play Nintendo with them online. Like my mom has a Switch, a bunch of my friends have Switches, so we can all still play and be like interconnected, if you will, even though we're not in the same physical room. So COVID is weirdly was the turning point in my brain where I was like, maybe I could move. I honestly hadn't thought about it before. I was like, there's no way I can do it, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so I was like, okay, maybe I could do this. This was like March 2020 when all of COVID was happening, but obviously COVID was happening, so I was like, I don't think I can move in the middle of COVID. So I was like, let's just start thinking about this in our brains and see, you know, what the future holds, blah, blah, blah. We'll see what's gonna happen. So yeah, COVID made me think like, okay, I'm not really tied down to anything in Lancaster. Like, I'm not dating anyone. I have a great job that I'm able to move with, which like I am so grateful for. I know I can maintain those connections with people even if I'm not like physically here. So I was like, wow, maybe I should do this. Obviously, Phoenix was like my first choice in my brain of places that I would move to because I had that whole experience when I went there when I was like in high school where I was like, this is the best place ever. The other thing, just a little tiny thing that I'll mention, is I, over the years, have grown to hate winter. I think every year I get a little more of like seasonal affective disorder where I just like, it gets cold and dark here early and it snows and it's just, I get more miserable every year in the winter. I kind of think maybe that's why I stopped making YouTube videos this winter, because I was just like, oh, I can't do it. Like, it's too much with work and it's dark and cold, and I just, when I'm done with work, I want to crawl onto the couch and just like watch a movie, play my Switch. Like, I don't want to do anything. So that's where I also thought of like, let me move to the hottest place in America, not in the world, in America, the desert. I could move to Florida, but I don't want hurricanes to happen. I have this weird thing with like natural disasters that I'm scared of, because I would move to California, but I don't want a tsunami to like sweep me away. I thought, yeah, why don't I move to Arizona? I know people who live there. I know it's warm there all year round. At least considerably warmer in the winter and definitely hotter in the summer. I know they had some crazy temperatures this past summer, which I was like, ooh, what am I getting myself into? That is part of the reason how I landed on Arizona. Another reason of just moving kind of period is I never had a big like adventure when I was growing up. So I grew up like 40 minutes from here, born and raised in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. If you know, you know. I live in Lancaster now. I didn't go to college. I did community college for a little bit and it just like wasn't for me. Some of my health stuff going on with like diabetes, it was a lot. So I didn't go to college. I didn't ever like go away or do any big like leaving of home things. So I kind of feel like this is moving now is what that would have been when I was younger. Does that make sense? I'm not sure. Let's hope it does. So with hating the winters, not ever really going on a big adventure, knowing that I love Arizona and I love the desert, I had been there in pretty much every season. So I was like, I know I can handle it. Because people were like, it's gonna be hot. And I was like, I know, it's the desert. But knowing people, you know, we still have family friends that live out there, so it's not like I'm moving to a city where I don't know anybody. I'm really close with our family friends, so they're like second parents to me. As much as it's scary, it's equally comforting to move there because it's like I have a good kind of home base network type thing, and I love meeting new people. I love making friends, so I'm super excited to see what that is. That has been another thing that's been kind of hard, is like knowing that I'm leaving my friends, even though through COVID, I've learned that FaceTime is great and I love FaceTime, and you can, you know, still feel like you're almost in the same room as people, even if you're not. But yeah, so that brings me to my next point, which I am still terrified to move, but I don't know how to explain this feeling, but it just feels like the right thing to do. I feel like I'm at the right time in my life to do it. I have a great job that I'm able to take with me and do from out there, which has like made this so much smoother. I was able to find an apartment, and I know I've been there. I know how it's gonna like look and feel, kind of. Because that's the other thing, is I was trying to figure out how to find an apartment virtually, essentially, because I wanted to kind of see and feel the vibe before I like settled on one place. So, because I was a little nervous about finding an apartment online, and then like, I wanted to see it and be in it before signing anything. Because, you know, you can see something online and then when you get there, the vibe is completely different and you're like, whoa, what was I doing? Also, I just realized this chair is like kind of squeaky, so if you can hear a chair squeaking, I'm sorry. Also, I'm kind of mad I never used this background when I lived here because it looks cool. I put all my plants on one of my windowsills because I unfortunately am going to be giving a lot of them away to my friend. I'm taking 2 plants with me. I'm hoping to fit them in my car, but we'll see about that. I might have a bit of a breakdown if I can't fit them in my car, but because I'm emotionally attached to 2 specific plants, I digress. Anyway, I'm still terrified, but I'm so excited. I'm so grateful to know people, to be able to still be doing my job. I'm excited to meet people, and I'm so excited to get out of the freaking winter, and I'm getting out just in time right as it turns to fall here. I wanted one last summer on the East Coast because summer is my favorite time. Like, it gets so hot and humid, which is funny because I'm moving to a dry climate, but hot, humid, stormy, I love that weather. And I don't know if you can hear outside the cicadas. That's like reminds me of my childhood. But I wanted one last summer on the East Coast, which I got, and I will be moving right as the winter kind of comes in. So I'm really glad about that. I'm also glad I'm not moving out there in the middle of summer because that would be horrible and probably super expensive. Yeah, a couple other things that I'm terrified about and I haven't really thought, or I haven't gotten a chance to think through yet because of just like timing, is finding a doctor out in Arizona, finding insurance out there. Because if you remember all my insurance stuff from when I kind of explained it last winter, I'm on like private insurance, so I have to kind of figure out how to end my insurance here and start it there and find doctors and be able to like have enough medicine, like insulin and all my other stuff. So that is gonna be a tricky bridge to cross when I get to it. But I've realized with diabetes that I have a lot of anticipatory anxiety which makes sense because, you know, when you have diabetes, you have to anticipate going low, going high, having enough supplies, all that stuff. So that's kind of has transferred over into this move where I'm like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? Are the movers gonna come? Is everything gonna like work out? And my therapist told me something very important that I think will stick with me for a while, for the rest of my life probably, is you can anticipate something going wrong, but you can also anticipate knowing that you have the means and the ability to adjust to that problem and to fix it. So that's what I'm telling myself is like, if anything goes wrong, I know I can figure out how to go around it or figure it out or whatever. But yeah, it's funny how I've realized how much moving and not moving and diabetes are related. That's not what I want to say, but how much like, what do I want to say? Let me think about this for a second. I think one, how much anxiety I have and how much of that is related to like diabetes, which then I think has kind of transferred over into moving. But two, how much of an overthinker I am. Again, I think thanks to diabetes, because you're always analyzing things and trying to figure out, did I take too much insulin? Did I take enough? How many carbs am I eating? Blah, 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 blah. It just has made me realize kind of how my brain is mapped out, which has been interesting and an enlightening experience in my eyes. So yeah, it's kind of weird, but that's where I'm at. One thing that I've realized I do have diabetes to thank for in moving is I am a mega planner. My blood sugar is high, I just got an alert. Oh, I'm 246, yikes. I got distracted by my Dexcom. Yes, I've realized how much diabetes has made me a planner, which has helped me tremendously in moving because I'm planning every little thing out, which can not be great, but you know, I kind of have a plan for this, a backup plan for that. I have everything mapped out, so thank you, diabetes, for making me a planner. But yeah, but it's also been hard to kind of let go of different things around here and realize that like, it's hard to grow, I think. And my dad's been saying this thing to me, and I'm gonna butcher it when I say it right now, but my dad has said like, it's hard to grow when you can't see the other side. So like, I can't totally see what my life will look like in Arizona right now, but I know it's the right place to go. And that's been really tricky, but figuring it out slowly. I am down to less than a month in this apartment, which I will be so sad about, but we've made a lot of good videos in this apartment. And I just want to tell you guys about some of the content that I have coming up. So I'm going to New York City next week, so I was gonna make a cool vlog out of that, and then we'll jump into the moving, because by then it'll be like 2 weeks before I move, so I'll be packing up my house, figuring out my diabetes supplies. I'm obviously bringing all that in the car. I'm gonna bring a lot of stuff in my car with me. I have no idea. This whole thing is just crazy, but I'm really glad I'm documenting it, and I'm excited to look back on this, you know, maybe when I'm missing home, or when I just want to look back and see like, oh my gosh, remember when I moved across the country That was crazy. That's it for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm going to be putting a ton of content out there with moving and explaining things and making vlogs because, again, I really want to remember all of this. And I guess that's it. I have no idea how wordy this video was. It might have been like a 20-minute long video of me just yabbing away. So if you made it to the end, let me know in the comments because I appreciate you. And if you didn't make it to the end and you're not seeing this, I understand and I empathize, because this was a very wordy video. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next week. Bye.